This is a response to Bionic Dance's video in Boston terms. Now, first of all, Kate, don't feel bad that you can't empathize with people in a big tragedy halfway across the world. It's a guilt tactic a lot of people use, where they try to make you feel guilty for not feeling empathy for every tragedy. I mean, it's obviously you don't feel no empathy at all because you feel bad for these people and it is scaring you, which is kind of what it would do to anyone. But I don't expect you to cry a river over it. So there is some empathy, it's just you're not noticing it because you think it's not empathy, but it really is. Second of all, yes, being afraid of what this actually is and why no one has claimed credit is a reasonable reaction. Because you don't know if this person is going to strike again, if they're alive, if they're dead. You don't know anything about who or what did this. Well, we kind of know what did this, but you know what I mean. And you're wanting to know the definition actually ties into it, because if it's just a murder and there was a definite target, then if the target was gotten, the person won't have to do it anymore. If the target was not gotten, then we know they'll try again. And if it's terrorism, well, yeah, we kind of know what's going to happen there. So it's understandable that you're trying to find a difference. In a Vaughn TV, I said Vaughn, not Blog. Blog TV is sadly no longer with us. You and Glenn were speaking about a case about the DC sniper. And I had mentioned in it that the DC sniper had an actual definite motive. And this actually ties into your point. A lot of people thought this was a terrorist because, you know, it's a crazy guy shooting up people with a gun randomly for fun. He was basically a spree killer or a serial killer because it was over a course of time. However, his motive was one murder. His ex-wife. This could be the Unabomber version of that. So you're very right to ask, is this murder or is this something else entirely? And you're very right to be a little nervous at least, and that actually does show empathy, if not for the victims, then for the other people on the planet. Because, well, first of all, I live a lot closer to Boston, even though I'm in New York. But, yeah, you live in Seattle, you're a little further away, you're a little safer. It's a little easier to get to New York from Boston. So if the person decides to strike again, they can strike in my backyard very easily, comparatively. So we don't know what this person wanted or did, and that's not good. We don't even know if it's male or female. We just know somebody planted bomb. That's all we know. And you not wanting to jump into a term right off the bat is actually very wise. I have not called it a terrorist attack because I don't know if it is or not. I will say it's a terrifying attack, and I will say that it is a very nasty attack. And in fact, I would also say, and this is going to sound very morbid and very awful, we're lucky we've only had a few deaths, because noting that this is the Boston Marathon, there could have been a lot more. So the amount of death we had is actually a good thing in a strange way. However, that being said, of course, people are jumping down your throat for this. This logical thinking of, we can't call it terrorism till we know it's a terrorist thing. And to those people, I would like to say, stop. You do this every single time she argues with any term. You do this with atheism, you do this with terrorism. Just fucking stop. It's childish, it's stupid, it's pedantic, and holy shit, why? That actually trivializes this a lot more than what you think Kate's video did. I mean, for fuck's sake, she brought up some excellent points. We don't know why. That's actually scarier than it being a terrorist attack, because we don't even know what the point of it was. It could have been pointless, it could have been for money, it could have been for revenge, it could have been for political reasons, it could have been just some psycho who was bored. It could have actually been an accident in that somebody made a homemade bomb as, like, you know, a joke. and blew themselves to smithereens. We don't know if this person's alive, dead, injured. We don't know anything. And when you don't know anything, you get that weird fear of the unknown where, oh dear God, is it going to happen to me? I mean, even 9/11 wasn't that scary to me because I knew the people that flew into the buildings were probably dead because they were in the planes. You don't live through that. So I knew it couldn't happen to me anywhere else because they weren't alive. It was obvious. This is not so obvious. And as for one, and again, Kate, you're showing empathy because you want to volunteer. You wanted to donate blood, but they said, we have enough blood, which I'm actually a little surprised. Usually they have a shortage of blood, so yay, America. You're thinking donating money, but you're broke, which is understandable, you know. Priority of needs, you need to take care of yourself first. I know this sounds really selfish, but if you're not alive, you can't really help. You know that person that helps too much and like drops because they help too much? Yeah, you don't want to be in that situation, which is why I'm saying this. And you mentioned the conspiracy site where the guy says, you know, I took this so some conspiracy nut couldn't have it. That is kind of funny. That's actually a very, like, I don't normally condone trolling, but that's an excellent trolling of that person did. So whoever that person is, you get 1,000,000 e-cookies, and if I ever actually get to meet you, I'll bake you real ones and brownies too, because you're fucking awesome. Volunteering time is going to be tricky because you're across the country. So maybe the best way you can do it, Kate, is just to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, you can't get the opinions out there. So this is basically just me letting you know that what you said actually makes a lot of fucking sense. And the people who are bickering with your terminology are just pedantic, and they're trivializing this more than you ever could. And I'm doing this in video because I think if I say it rather than just type it out in your comments, maybe more people will listen. And keep in mind, I don't agree with Kate on anything. Like her messing with the checkout person. Yeah, real nice, Kate. Bad, Kate. You don't do that. Ever, ever. You never, ever, ever do that. You do not mess with the people checking you out. Because they're forced to run on automatic, because nowadays, service jobs fucking suck. Okay? That's a response to another video, but this is mainly to the in Boston terms. You know, there are times I do not agree with Kate. But this time I do. And I really do not want to hear people going, oh, but it was a terrifying act. Terrorism needs a fucking motive, and right now there's no motive to be known. Terrorism is an act of scaring someone for your reasons. If it's a murder reason, then it was not meant to be terrorism. It was meant to kill somebody. That's not terrorism. That's a calculated but a very demented and very messy way of doing things. I say calculated because they had to have known the person would be in that area at the very least, or think they were, you know what I mean. If it was a prank gone wrong, that is not terrorism. That is just human stupidity. I can hear Kate now. People are dumb. You know, if this was a political or monetarily motivated situation, then yes, we may call it terrorism. And I'm going to cut people off here. I do not blame any particular race, because we don't know who did it or if they're still alive. So whatever creed or religion did it, it doesn't matter. It's going to depend on what it is, what its motive was. If it was meant to scare people for a legit reason or an unlegit reason, then we may call it terrorism. Until then, do not jump onto every fucking term you can think of, because we don't know. All we know that it was bad. You know, and that's pretty much the one word I will use to describe it right off the bat. This was really fucking bad. Because I'm pretty sure most people don't like getting blown to smithereens. Maybe Bugs Bunny, but he's not real, unfortunately. As awesome as that would be. So please, just lay off the whole terminology thing until the news gives us more information, or until we get a motive. You know, something. And don't try to guess, please. No conspiracies or anything like that. Let the police and the firefighters do their job. They know what the fuck they're doing 99% of the time. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say this. This is the stuff they're trained to take care of. In fact, there's a reason there's an arson department in the fire department to take care of things like this. And technically I think this would fall under the jurisdiction, noting it was a bomb, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think. I know they have, like, ways of checking this out. And keep in mind, this is somebody who built the bomb from scratch. I think they built the bomb from scratch. I know very little about this, you know. A lot of people know very little. So, unfortunately, even Sherlock Holmes... Like, unless you're Sherlock Holmes and notice things, we don't have a lot to go on here. And, you know, even Kate said, she conceded that most likely this was an act of terrorism because of, you know, the amount of people around, which, you know, is the logical conclusion in a weird way. But at the same time, I'll be dead honest, I'm going to refer back to the DC sniper. Not necessarily. His acts were technically that of a serial killer. But it was all to kill one fucking person! And to make it look like just a random killing. He didn't get to it in time. The woman actually was not killed. A lot of other people were. He didn't give two shits. It's the same thing. I mean, technically, yes, he was a serial killer, but he wasn't doing it for any other reason but to kill his wife. He wasn't a terrorist. He was just an asshole ex-husband. He was a murderer, pure and simple. And yes, you can do terrorism that way. If you start sniping around and scaring the shit out of people, and you're doing it for a political reason, it would be terrorism. That's what terrorism is. The word terror's in it for that reason. And people were terrified. This is the same thing, and now we don't know if this person's alive, dead, and what the fuck they're gonna do next. So, again, we're gonna be terrified. But that doesn't mean this is terrorism. Because we don't know why they did it in the first place. Once we get a motive, call it whatever you like. Hell, call it Pookie for all I care. I don't give a rat's ass at that point. But for now, shut up, sit down, and wait. Because that's all any of us can do, is shut up, sit down, and wait, and maybe volunteer if we're nearby. Or if we have the money. I would say or if we have the blood, but they said enough. But be ready just in case. You never know when they're going to need a type O or a type AB. I'll catch you guys later.